All right, if you're watching right now, I am just setting everything up so that people can join in, watch all of that fun stuff. Just wait for some people to throw in some questions in there. While I wait for people to join in, if you're watching this on the recast in the future, just jump forward a couple minutes when some people have joined in, asking some questions. As for right now, I'm going to make a little social media post about you guys watching. So I just started a live stream over on Patreon for my inner circle over there. If you wonder what goes on, every Sunday afternoon, I do a private live stream just with them to answer all their questions. I can respond back. So if you're interested in that, check out my Patreon page. All right. Well, there's no one still in here. So whenever someone joins in, I'll start talking. My kids were actually away this weekend at their grandparents' house, so I was able to get a bunch of work done. That's how I was able to dedicate so much time to my MCU ranking and then doing spoiler videos and everything. But hopefully someone will join me. Did I post this wrong? Is my link good? Yeah, link is good. Oh, 2 people joining in. It's telling me 2 people are watching, but I don't know which 2 people are watching. I don't have any questions or anyone joining me in the chat yet. So as soon as you guys have some questions, post them over. Click the link down below to head on over to YouTube. That's where you can ask the questions, and I can, yeah, we can start talking movies with me real quick. Okay. Be Wise chimes in. He says, Be Wise, shocking my text, huh? What he's talking about is that he texted me to tell me that he likes X-Men Apocalypse more than The Dark Knight. I don't know which word is the right word for it, but it's definitely a strong word. A unique opinion not shared by a large number of people. Jackson Dworak, hi Sean, hope you enjoyed South by Southwest. I didn't go to South by Southwest. I haven't done anything with South by Southwest. Because I mean, the only way I could get out that MCU ranking that I put out yesterday was that I took off, or not took off, I dedicated 24 hours straight to writing, filming, and editing it. And I've shot 5 more videos, so I haven't gone to South by Southwest at all. I just have friends that are in town. They went to it. But yeah, I mean, it's maybe someday I'll be able to go, but right now I'm just trying to build my channel. I can't spend the money to go to it, and I can't take the time off from creating content from my main channel to go to South by Southwest. In the fall, in September, I'm probably going to go to Fantastic Fest. It's another film festival here in town. But it's a slower time period in the year when it comes to movies, so then it's a good investment of my time into Fantastic Fest. Probably movies are a little bit more in my niche as well at Fantastic Fest. So the problem with South by Southwest is, you know, with Captain Marvel coming out, if I went to it, I wouldn't have been able to post all these videos. I wouldn't be able to do all the Captain Marvel content, and that's my core content. That's the main stuff that my audience likes is Marvel stuff. That's where I built my audience the most, and so I just simply can't take off time from making videos to go to a film festival when a new Marvel movie comes out. However, in September, if South by Southwest was in September, that would be perfect for me because it's a slow time period, so it gives me interesting content, interesting movie stuff to do during a time when there's not, you know, who knows what's coming out in September. It's never anything good. So that's kind of the backstory on some of it. And I don't know all the details of if you get on press list, how much it costs and everything, but passes were $1,000 for South by Southwest. So that would not be a good, wise investment for my channel right now. If I were to try that one, that would be a loss of money. So I certainly could not do that. So, yeah, that's a little bit of the details on that one. Sorry, someone is messaging me over on Patreon about it, about whether this is working. Yes, it is working. I'm chatting now with humans. Sorry about that. Someone's having technical problems that I'm trying to solve on the spot. All right, let me see what we got here. BY says, I said The Dark Knight is wearing its welcome. I have seen it like 3 or 4 times since the end of June. Yeah, but that's, I mean, saying that Apocalypse is better than The Dark Knight is not the same thing as saying I'm a little tired of The Dark Knight. Like, those are 2 very different things. It's one thing to say I've watched this movie too many times in a short period of time, so I'm just kind of tired of it right now, and saying that I mean, obviously, all the time we don't just watch our favorite movie all the time. We go, I want some variety and diversity inside of the mix. So in that regard, I would, that's not best. That's not saying that Apocalypse is better. It's just saying it's different and a nice change of pace. Jackson Dworak, if you had to pick one of these past character choices that fell through to actually get made, which would you pick? Bill Murray's as Batman? Absolutely not. No world do I want Bill Murray's Batman. Absolutely not. That's not even like that's a Saturday Night Live sketch I want to see. That is not a movie that I have any interest in seeing, even if it's an Adam West. Like, I just do not want that. It does not fit. It does not make sense. Nicolas Cage as Superman. I'd love to see that one. I don't know what it would be. I mean, I've seen the documentary on it. I was actually a Kickstarter for John Schnepp's documentary on that. So I would be interested in seeing that one. I don't know if it would be good, but it would be an interesting bad if it was bad. It would be a movie that makes its mark. It'd be distinct. Leonardo DiCaprio's Spider-Man. Leo is too old. I mean, he's too old and has too distinctive a look for Spider-Man. He's too good looking. He's just too heartthrob. So I don't think I definitely got to go with the Nick Cage as Spider-Man is the one I'd want to see. The Shadow Review says Captain Marvel is the most disappointing Phase 3 movie. It's pretty disappointing. I would of course say that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is the most disappointing by quite a bit. I was a lot more excited for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 or Volume 2, and it disappointed me, and I think it's more frustrating than Captain Marvel. So it both I expected something higher. Like, I wasn't expecting something crazy high from Captain Marvel. Both of them probably came in below expectations, but Captain Marvel was like this. Guardians of the Galaxy was like this. So for me, I would by far say that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 is the most disappointing. But then again, I've had people for the last 36 hours telling me I'm an idiot, a moron, on the intelligence of a stone, a maniac. Someone called me a maniac because I didn't like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So people have strong opinions about my opinions about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. V. Taylor, hi Sean and all. Thank you so much for joining in and catching the live stream. Be wise, I'm just tired of it. It's nice to see something new. Dark Knight is made better. Shadow Reviews, The Dark Knight is literally my favorite movie of all time. In my community, that is actually quite a common opinion since, well, I've got a lot of comic book fans in my community since I'm a comic book fan. It's a good one. I'm certainly on team The Dark Knight. Can't say I'm on team X-Men Apocalypse. V. Taylor, Captain Marvel was definitely a disappointment. Totally agree. It was so flat. There's too much of nothing useless in it. Yeah, it's like a movie packed with... Captain Marvel's the type of movie where, as you're watching it, you can think of a better version of it. You can imagine how they could have done the same basic idea, just better. And all these scenes where you're like, this dialogue is clunky. This was done kind of weird. And you're just writing a better film as you're kind of doing all this. And so, yeah, it's pretty disappointing. Very flat is a good way to describe it. Uneven's a good way to describe it. The people are saying that it's awful, it's abysmal. That seems like a stretch to me. The people that are saying it's amazing, and I've seen some people say, best Marvel movie. Both of these ones seem bonkers to me, but if you're like, yeah, it's a pretty disappointing, uneven Marvel film, I'm totally tracking with you. Jackson, I think Hulk, Thor, Ant-Man, and Rocket will be the biggest names to bite it in Endgame. I think somehow Cap ends up with Carter in the end, and Stark raises a family. Thoughts on those guys biting the dust? You know, I don't know. That's not what I would bet on. It doesn't feel right to give Captain a happy ending like that. Doesn't seem like he wants a happy ending. Seems like he wants to die a soldier. So I don't know if that would be satisfying. I think Tony's going to have a family. I think that one. And that feels satisfying. Like, I try to think through, like, if we get to the end of the movie, what's surprising yet satisfying, or what, trying to get to a point in time where, like, I like where this put us. If we get to a point in time at the end of the movie and an engaged Tony dies, that's not very satisfying. That's like, oh, that's just painful. And you want to have something painful in there. So someone's going to die that, like, it really hits the heart. With Captain America, like, him continuing on as the soldier out of his time, but even though all of his friends are dying and everything, doesn't feel very satisfying. So some of the other ones, Thor, I could see Thor dying. Ant-Man dying just seems weird. That just seems like an odd, like, what? Why would you kill off Ant-Man? Of the people to kill off, why Ant-Man? So it just doesn't, he doesn't seem like a character that, when you have such a down-to-earth normal guy that's just trying to raise his daughter and things like that, and you kill him off, it just feels like a bad taste in your mouth. He's not the guy that he's not even Tony Stark, where Tony Stark has become this very transformed person that in multiple of these movies, he's made the choice to sacrifice himself. He's flown into space with the missile. He's like charged at Thanos. Like he just couldn't say no to it. And so I don't want to see him die and leave Pepper back home, but there's a side to it that like it's in another way is a bookend to a story arc. Whereas with Ant-Man, he's got like a 8-year-old daughter or whatever, where it just feels like, oh, why would we kill this guy off? Oh, this is so cruel. So I'm not sure if that one feels a bit cruel to me. But Thor, I could see it. Hulk biting it. I could see a big transformation. Like I could see Hulk not being the same ever again. I don't know that I could see them killing Hulk. And Rocket, what people don't like it when you kill animals. Movies, whenever you kill an animal in a movie, you lose the audience. They get really mad at you as soon as you kill the animal. So even if it's a talking animal, I would be skeptical of that one. So maybe at the beginning I was a little bit more skeptical. So I think I was about 50-50 with you. I had a couple where I agree with you, a couple where I pretty disagree with you, and then a couple where it's a little bit 50-50 for me. You guys got more questions for me? Or am I just... There we go. There's one. V. Taylor, have you decided on a watch party film yet? Just asking, as UK Netflix doesn't have a lot of what the US one does in case I have to rent it. Yeah, so I let the week kind of play out to let people make suggestions. A lot of the suggestions people made are movies I'm planning on doing on my main channel. So I think starting tomorrow, I think I'm going to pick a date someday this week to continue on, and I'm going to start watching through the US Netflix movies. And then I'll put out a poll with whichever ones people recommended. I'll try and put all of them in there. And I can do 2 watch parties. Like it's a different, two different experiences. If I'm just talking with, even if all 50 of you guys watched for a watch party, that's very different from a watch party on my main channel where it's several hundred people and you don't know who's going to be in there. I know who all of you are. So I know who most of you are. And some of you, we talk every single week. So I'd be open to even still doing something 2 times. But so I'll put that poll up in a couple of days so you can know and try and come up with a date and time to do that. The next couple of weeks are the spring break in the U.S., so a lot of people are probably out of school. So this will probably be a good window to try and make it happen too. So just a little update on it. I worked from Thursday night. I had friends come to town. They're here for South by Southwest. We shot 3 videos together. I got a little bit of sleep, and then from the moment I woke up on Friday until 3 in the morning, I was editing my Marvel ranking, and then I took a 2-hour nap, and then I woke up and finished editing my Marvel ranking, posted it, and was up for a few more hours trying to respond to comments and things like that. So I've been pushing hard the last little bit. So I haven't been able to kind of follow up on some of the Patreon questions I put out there. But I will, just short answer, no, I'll put out a poll out probably tomorrow. The Shadow Reviews. I just rewatched Suicide Squad last night. Don't even think about the show. Yeah, it's a mess. It's a mess of a movie. The actors, I think, for the most part, are pretty good. The specific characterizations and actors, I think, are pretty good. However, the story is script nightmare. Like, really dropped the ball on the script on it. And I supposedly had 6 weeks to write it, and then it was reshuffled in the editing room. Anytime you do that stuff, it just makes for a bad movie. Everything about 6 weeks to write the script, rushing it to meet a deadline, oh, let's try and fix it in editing. You just ruin movies when you do that. You have to give them enough time to cook it. It's like trying to cook a good meal in the microwave. You can make food in the microwave. You can do that. You can make certain foods in the microwave quickly. If you're trying to make a great meal, which if you're trying to make a big blockbuster that's going to make a ton of money, that's got to be a good meal. That's got it, whether that's just great entertainment, great whatever. By some standard, you have to cook it right. And they tried to microwave Suicide Squad. It doesn't work. It almost never works. So unfortunately, that's what happened. Sorry, my wife texted me something. V. Why would you do that to yourself? Shadow. I watch Suicide Squad once a year too, just because kind of for my channel. Jackson Dworak, who was Ben Mendelsohn's human character in Captain Marvel? I didn't understand that character's role. I don't know if that question makes sense. He was playing, I think, Nick Fury's boss. So it played a little bit confusing in the movie because I think they introduced him at a point in time where he was already the Skrull. I don't think they introduced him as who he actually was. And so then as it happens in the movie, especially if you know who the actor is, you know what's going on. So it's a very weird way to do that. But I'm pretty sure he's his boss. I think it's his boss. He's someone with S.H.I.E.L.D. So if you haven't seen the movie, it's not a spoiler. It's just it's just a little point in there, but that's not spoiling anything major or anything like that. You have to worry that I just told you something like, oh no, you told me something, at all. B-Wise, next week is my spring break. Here where I'm at right now, this is how stupid things are. My son's spring break is started. He's in spring break right now. My daughter's spring break doesn't start until the next week. They're on different schedules. Brilliant school districts communicating with each other. Jackson Dworak, do you prefer Stuckman or John's style of videos more, or neither? They do very different things. So I guess that goes to your question, do you prefer this style or this style? John's intentionally is an entertainer, and he's trying to talk like a person. He's just trying to talk like one of the boys or whatever. Chris Stuckman is trying to be a modern-day movie critic on YouTube. Those are two different ways to do things. If I only had one, if I had to like erase one from existence, I probably would take out John's because inherently there's more useful to someone trying to be a critic. But I don't, that's because you asked the question. I stop by both of their channels frequently enough and kind of check out what they're doing. Jeremy Johns is a lot more entertaining to me. And Chris Stuckman, by the nature of what he's doing, seems to have a little bit more depth to what he's doing. So, because of what I do, depth has a bit more value to me than entertaining me a little bit. But I'm only answering that because you asked the question. V. Taylor, where is the real guy that Ben Mendelsohn used the face of? That's what I want to know. Like, where did he see the guy? I don't know. Like, it was a very weird way that they did it because he says he has to see them and then he can copy them. But, like, I don't think we saw that guy. I don't know when he saw him that would set up the scenario to where he can make that. Or, oh, where is the real guy? I see what you're saying. Like, did he put time up on the trunk of the car? I get what you're saying that way. Right, exactly. Like, so that guy, he sees him, takes his place, and then the story continues with Ben Mendelsohn in the role. So, yeah, that's a good question. What is he? Yeah, I don't think it says. I don't think the movie ever answers that question. I don't think does he come back at the end of the movie? I don't recall. I might be leaving very soon to go see it a second time, so maybe we'll have some better answers on these ones. But yeah, so that one doesn't make a lot of sense. What was another question? Well, I don't want to go into too many spoilers in case for people who haven't seen there's another one about the nature of her origin story and how she got her powers, and it's a little bit like, what? How did that play out? Evan Williams, what do you like more about Aliens versus Alien? It's a style question more, whereas Alien is like this moody, atmospheric, slow-moving, kind of like a slasher film in space, except a little bit more artfully directed, a little bit better production value, of course, because of better budget and things like that. But it's just a slower-moving film. And there are people that just want to sing the praise of all the wonders of the Alien. I think it's a very good movie. It just doesn't, like a slow-moving alien slowly killing people in space doesn't resonate with me as well as a fast-moving, action-packed, tense James Cameron sci-fi action horror film. Just as for what the two of them are, Aliens just appeals to me more. And if you go a little bit deeper than that, what they do with Ripley, kind of giving her this, where she's lost her family and finds this girl and has this maternal nature towards her while being the strong action hero, that's more interesting to me. This group of Marines with guns losing to a bunch of aliens is more interesting to me than a bunch of people with nothing being eaten by aliens slowly. So there's just a bunch of things like that that just, it's kind of like everything about Aliens to me just feels like a better version, like a great follow-up, like the follow-up that figures out how to make everything a little bit better. That's what it's like to me. I guess, you know, maybe artfully speaking or cinematography, you could give those ones to Alien, but I'm not a person that would, if I'm picking between two movies, cinematography is not the thing normally that's going to push one over the other for me. That's just not me. So almost everything about Aliens I just find better, more exciting, more fun, more emotional. Z. Taylor, I missed if it was in the film. I don't remember either what they did with Ben Mendelsohn. I don't think they described it very well. Be Wise, are you going to see The Kid? I don't know. I looked at it just an hour or two ago to see where it was playing. It's not playing at either one of any of the theaters that I go to. It's not at any of them. So I have to drive way across town to go see it. And then from my perspective, as a YouTuber person, that's not a review that anyone's going to watch. Because there's no one, the people that, like my channel, the nature of it, people watch reviews because they saw the movie and they want to talk about it. If the movie's playing in very few theaters, then people haven't really watched the movie. So that would be a very low performing video on my channel, in which case I start losing money to go see the movie as opposed to making money to go do it. And I'm taking the time out to go to do that. And I could lose subscribers when I do some of that. So I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet. If it was playing locally, if it was playing closer, I probably would, because I just want to go see it. But when it turns into, it turns into a field trip to drive to the next town, I'm probably just going to wait till it's on video, unfortunately. Like I don't even live like out in the middle of nowhere or anything like that, but I live at the spot where I'm at. There's 10 theaters around me that only play like the big stuff, and then that next level deeper things, I have to drive to the other end of Austin, and which means like driving across suburbs and everything. So probably will be one I watch at home. Jackson, what is the movie trope that you find the most annoying? Movie trope that I find most annoying. I don't know. I don't have a list of that. So I don't have an answer for you off the top of my head. I'll think about that one. You guys, if you can put your favorite movie tropes, the cliches, the plot devices that overused a whole bunch, put them down in the comments. I'll read yours. Maybe that'll spark my memory. Off the top of my head, I don't have one that's immediately coming to mind. I'm not saying anything. Jackson, what actor would play you, Sean Chandler, in a biopic? If you do it right now, Chris Pratt is my man. Chris Pratt's our go-to guy right now. I think that's pretty safe to say. Yeah, gonna go to Chris Pratt. The Shadow Reviews. The first 15 minutes of Captain Marvel are bad. The next 75 are great. The last 30 are not good. The dialogue is mediocre, and the scroll are disappointing. I agree about the first 15 minutes being pretty bad. I wouldn't be as hard on the last 30 minutes. They were fine. I think the stuff with them driving around and investigating with Nick Fury, I think that was probably the best stuff. The scroll, I like the scroll for what they were. Different type of set of characters in the universe. I like the scroll enough. I think because of what they did with the scroll, I think they left a certain hole in the movie that they didn't fill with anything. I think they could have filled something. I'm trying to avoid saying certain things because of spoilers, and please don't spoil things elsewhere. But like, I think there's a bit of a hole where they could have put some other things in there that, I think that's all I can say here. Evan was makes sense. I like the simplicity of Alien, but Aliens is a very fun film. If anything, I almost would say that like Alien is too simple for me. That's where I struggle sometimes when people say that Alien is better, when people talk about brilliant and they just kind of go these reps about brilliant Ridley Scott is because of a movie like Alien. I just don't see what they're seeing. It's tense. It's very good. I'm not criticizing the movie. I'm not saying, like, even on its own terms, I'm like, this is very good for what it's trying to be. But I feel like other people see Alien and they say it's on this next level. And I don't see, like, on this kind of upper level thing that I just don't see it because it's so simple. It's like a very simple film that's shot beautifully and acted very well that evokes the proper emotions. But just Alien seems to add all those little things that take it to that next level for me. V says, Aliens is in my top 5 favorite films. I don't know if it's in my top 5. It's in my top 10. I don't know. I don't really have a top 5 or 10, but Aliens is almost certainly in there. And, I mean, Alien might be in the top 50. Like, it's that sort of thing for me. Like, I don't know where Alien falls because I don't normally keep these lists around, but it's like I think Aliens and I think that's that upper tier. That's the type of movie made perfectly for me. And then Alien is like, oh, that's a really good genre film. That's really good. I really like that one. So that's the way I kind of talk about them. V. Taylor, Ben Mendelsohn was one of the best parts of Captain Marvel, at least for me. He was funny and charming. Yeah, absolutely. I said this in all my reviews of it, but I went into the movie, and when Ben Mendelsohn first came up, he started doing his same sort of shtick that he did in Rogue One and Robin Hood and Ready Player One. He does the same thing, and he kind of plays the same character. So at the beginning of this movie, I felt like they were playing that game. Like, I felt like they were heading down that direction. It was like, okay, Ben Mendelsohn doing the same thing except with a mask on. And then as it goes along, they add a lot of layers on top of it. And he gets to do something very different and a very different character. It's like, I really like what they did with this character in particular. And so in all my reviews, I've said him and Jackson were the two big standouts for me in the film. Jace, is Hilary Swank hot? Yeah, people keep asking me this one in all my live feeds. Haven't you asked me this one already? I thought you'd already asked me this one. But I do not, if the word we're using is hot, I would not label Hilary Swank hot. That is not the word that I would use. If we choose different, like, I'm not saying she's ugly. If you're not doing anything beyond saying the people I would slap the label hot on, I would not put her in that category. So, if you can give me a few more questions, I think I got to head on out a little bit early today. My kids just got back in town, so we're trying to get family stuff going. So if you got a last set of questions, then I think I got to head on out a bit early today. Jay says, yes. Yes, you have asked me before? Okay, if you've asked me before, I'm not going to keep answering it if you're intentionally re-asking me the same question. Shadow Reviews, my top 5 favorite movies: The Dark Knight, Empire Strikes Back, Jurassic Park, Ghostbusters, Avengers. That's a great list right there. I would not argue. I would not argue with any of your selections. That is a great set of movies. Jackson says, some tropes that annoy me are death fake outs. I would say in the MCU, that's one for me. Certainly in the MCU, they've done that one too many times. Overplayed it. So in the MCU, I would totally agree with you. When they do that in a movie, it really bothers me now. Interrupted kisses just because it's so overdone. Yeah, those I can see that one. How people on the phone hang up without saying bye, or people making plans without exchanging dates. See, I don't notice those ones. Those are some of the cheats of movies that I don't. I'm okay with the fact that people don't say goodbye, they don't set dates, and that they don't say, oh, crap, before we go and fight the Chitauri, I got to go to the bathroom. Like, I'm totally fine with some of these details of real life not quite making it into the movie. So that would be my quick take on that one. Final couple of questions before I head on out. Well, as I said before, I've kind of been a little bit short on time this past week, so I wasn't able to pull Big Baboon Balloon. What film should I watch tonight? I need more specifications because I don't know what you're looking for. Warrior is one of my go-to recommendations for people. So generically, I will recommend Warrior, but I need more boundaries to give you a selection. V. Taylor, buying alcohol simply by asking for beer or whiskey instead of asking for a brand. Film tropes, this is it. Just bothers me for some reason. Yeah, there's the sorts of ones in the movies where the simplified language, and you go, wait a minute, don't you have to like, what? No one orders like that. That's not, have the screenwriters ever bought beer before? Have they ever ordered things before? Those ones are always kind of fun when it seems like they haven't done so. All right, one more minute. Go one more minute, and I'm going to hit that end stream button. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I might do a midweek stream this week if things work out. My Marvel ranking video is taking off, so I don't really know how this week's going to play out, because when videos take off, it kind of changes my game a little bit, and I try and channel all my energy to keep that wave going. So I don't know how this is all going to play out, but hopefully it'll play out well. But yeah, thank you guys so much for if you guys watched that video, liked, shared it, any of those fun things. Thank you so much, because the video very much is it's taking off like I haven't had a video take off in 6 months. I think since I had a video on Venom that took off like this, and I haven't had one since then do what this video is doing. And that's awesome. It's pretty exciting. Final question of the day is going to be from Jace. What movies do your kids watch that you hate? Okay, so they had a Little Engine That Could movie that, like, Jamie Lee Curtis is in it. That one was really bad. That one was pretty tedious to watch. Movies, they watch a lot of those, like, super pup movies and stuff like that with talking animals and super low budget. They haven't gotten into the Air Bud stuff, but it's like Air Bud, like very poor man's versions of things. With, like, let's play off a superhero movie. Let's play off a sports movie of talking animals. And then it'll get some has-been actor from the 80s will be in it, so you kind of feel bad that they're acting in it. They watch a lot of that stuff. It drives me crazy. But, and then in their, outside of movies, they watch a lot of YouTube, and they watch just these obnoxious kid shows. Hobby Kids is one that they watch a ton of, that is just like, obviously this is not for me, but this is driving me a little bit crazy. I'm not crazy about the Hobby Kids, so yeah, there you go. Are you going to rank all the heroes with Captain Marvel? Not this go round. I'm going to do that probably in May. I don't want to redo all my rankings too soon, so that one will be in May. We'll see what happens with that movie. Do you think it looks like it could be a better film than Wonder Woman? It seems weird to compare Shazam to Wonder Woman to me, because they're very different. Obviously, both in the DCEU, but they're trying to be very different films. So I don't see a lot of value in comparing them, but it looks like it's going to do what it's trying to do very well. Wonder Woman had very high ambitions, and it starts to peter out in the third act, but it's a very good first 2 acts. Shazam looks like it could be a less ambitious film that's a lot of fun and delivers on its ambitions a little bit better. All right, talk to you guys later, maybe midweek this week or next Sunday. Otherwise, keep talking movies too much.